really? Interesting. So Twitch says I'm offline, but OBS says that I'm not. I don't know who to trust. Do I have any dropped frames? It says I have 0 dropped frames. Hmm. Interesting. Nope, looks like it's just Twitch being weird. Alright. So today we're going to be doing custom content creation, which is something that I started way back in the day, and we never finished it up. Mostly because I started focusing more on refactoring all of the old content that I had to redo with Substance and Maya, and basically rework the entire game from the start. But now that we're back up to the point where I was about a year and a half ago, I have way more content now. Everything looks and plays much better. I would like to get back into this because this is something that I think is necessary for Text Quest to succeed. I would like to have custom content creation, so I'd like people to be able to make their own text-based adventures. And as I said way back in the day, we're going to start off small. We're going to start off with just text-based adventures. So no 3D, no graphics at all, just text. And then from there, we'll move on to doing other stuff. But for now, we're just going to get a text-based editor or a text-based content creation going. Now, to show where we are currently, I have a couple of the menus made, but I don't actually have any sort of gameplay yet. So what I would like to do, probably should maximize on play, is actually get, by the end of today's Devstream, I would like to be able to get from the main menu up to a content creation screen that will actually let you create and save a game and load everything, basically. Now, we might not be able to get much gameplay done, but I would like to be able to, get the steps necessary to actually making a game done. So, we're just going to start off, go into extras, which is an old menu, as you can tell, because it's solid black, which means that I never went back and changed the background. Currently, I'm calling it classic mode. I think I'm going to change it to something like custom adventure. And I need to decide if I want to make this an unlock or if I want to just let you do it from the get-go. Currently, it's an unlock setting, so you have to actually do something to unlock this mode. But of course, we can just make it so I can go in there right now. Then we can play, which doesn't actually do anything. I'm pretty sure if I hit play, this is going to break. Oh, no, okay, doesn't break. So it'll try to pull up all of your data, but there's nothing actually there, so we can return. Let's go to create. Again, I don't have anything, so I can just say new, and then it'll pull up our custom game dialog. So we can give our game a name. We'll call it test game. We can say our creator. That would be me. And currently, I do have a game type that you can set. You can set either classic or graphical. Setting doesn't really do anything right now, but it will in the future let you sort of adjust what tools you're going to get access to. So you get access to like a sprite loader and what else? I'm not sure. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Mostly sprites is the difference between the two of those. And I suppose it'll also let you determine how your control scheme will work, whether it's the full keyboard at the bottom or if it's sort of, like select interaction options and all that. And actually, when I was messing around today, a little bit before the stream, I noticed that this weird bug happened. So you can see that the drop down shows up above my cursor. I do not even know how that's possible, considering, well, my cursor is being drawn up on top of it. In fact, if we actually pause the game, we can look at our UI, and you see that we have this overlay canvas. I'm going to zoom out here, which I guess is actually not going to do anything. And the overlay canvas is drawn below our view container, which actually contains the view that's got the drop down in it, which means that it should be drawing on top of it. But for some reason, it doesn't. And I don't quite know why. But in any case, if we actually drill down here, game type, I wonder if this actually has its own sort of, oh crap, what's it called? Canvas group to it. That would be interesting. That would also explain some things. But, I don't see anything here. So it's just a weird draw order, I guess, for now. Yeah, it's weird. Super weird. No idea. But in any case, for now, We don't have to worry about that. We're just going to set it to classic. We can set our save path. Oh, really? Did it pop up below it again? Why are you ordered to 10? Or to 5? You should be at like 15. I'm going to cheat here. Drag that. There we go. So this will let me navigate to an actual save spot. So I can create a directory if I wanted to, or I could just make one. Defaults to our custom folder, which is, let me find it right here. It'll be at the root of your project, or of your game. Let's see. So we can go to classic games. Do I have anything in here? No, I'm going to just make a new one. Call it test game. Come on. Test game. That's interesting. Old buttons. Hit confirm. Okay, we have a test game now. And let's see. File name, I guess we'll call it test game .ctba, which is custom text-based adventure. Let it save, and then we can hit create. And then, interesting, it doesn't close. So that's something that's cool, interesting. And then that takes us to our actual sort of menu, which lets you view your map, view your game settings, save and load, which it's fine for now. These are two things I remember way back in the day debating whether or not I should just have autosave on all the time. So I enabled the ability to say I don't want to autosave every change I make, or I do want to autosave it. And if you have autosave turned off, then of course you can manually save or manually load, which means that you can actually go back and if you don't like what you've done for this session, you can just erase it. I'm going to turn autosave on. And from here, I think I do technically have submenus, but nothing's really actually set up to work. So you can see that map and game settings don't actually do anything. And then, of course, we can go all the way back and go to create. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't... I thought it would. Back. Play. Oh. I thought that when you hit create that it would actually show everything, but I guess I didn't get that far. Well, fun. But as you can see that we have quite a bit of work to do before we actually get anywhere that's useful for players, that can actually let them make their own content. And as a minor thing, right now, you can hear the sound of fire in the background. Obviously, that's because we have the level loaded in the background. So we're going to have to do something about that whenever we whenever we actually start that sort of custom content creation, because I do not like hearing fire crackling or really any other sound that'll come from more chaotic levels to come through. So, a couple things. First things first, let's go ahead and start. Let's fix some of our ordering issues. So, let's go to UI, go to View, File Save Explorer, and File Explorer. Okay, good. So I'm going to make these guys, say 20. And File Explorer, I suppose we'll also make you 20. Oh, interesting. These are... Oh, man. They're not even using the actual TextMesh Pro stuff. Oh, well. So, now we're actually going to have to dig in and start messing with some menus. So, first things first, let's take a look at... do I not have a game settings view? I would have thought I did. Well, let's look at the code. Alright. Don't need to worry about the extra views anymore. So, we open, we have a JSON file, or a JSON object that contains all of our information, which would be stuff, like, if we look at it, the rooms, the objects, the items, variables, etc., etc., etc. How do we want to start off here? So it loads in all of your data, and then we're going to give you the ability to add more. Let's start with... well, let's start small. Let's fix the minor issue where when you come in, it looks like save and load are enabled, even though autosave is checked off, which those buttons should do nothing if autosave is checked. So let's come all the way down here. on autosave toggled. Find all references. Classic create view. All right. So we're gonna have to set that up whenever we actually load in our data. So we load in game name, game creator, game description. Don't worry about that. Game type. All that stuff is loaded, and that should be displayed over here. And then from that, we're gonna actually be able to save settings. I think. Let's see. Game path. This actually writes the file, which is fine. Let's actually go back here. Let's go to test game. No, it didn't actually write the file. That's interesting. I wonder why. Okay. So let's go ahead and turn off our UI. Let's navigate through all that again real quick. And we're going to actually see if the file writing even gets called. I wouldn't doubt it if it doesn't. And actually going through this does give me an idea of something else I need to do, which is that initial sort of hang whenever the background level loads. Gotta fix that. Not an issue of today, but that's an issue I need to dig into. Let's go to extras, classic mode. We're gonna create a new game. Just sort of zip through here. Test, creator, C. Keep it as a classic game type. Oh, that's where it put it. It put it at testgame.ctba. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's actually hit X here, hit cancel. And let's edit this menu because it's not closing when it should. Let's go to view container, custom new game dialog, double click on that. Stop playing. And there are only 2 buttons, which is nice. So let's see. On create click, I guess for some reason this doesn't want to close. And then on cancel click, we'll go ahead and say close. Alright, nice and easy. That should fix that issue. And actually, something fun. Let's come back here. Edit with Notepad. So here is what our JSON looks like by default for a custom game. We have a list of bools, floats, integers, strings, and those would be the variables that you set up. I bet we could actually set this JSON up to be a little bit more organized, so we could have a variable section and a settings section, so that we can save if you want to autosave or not. So let's see here. Classic create view, game info, game info. This is interesting. Huh. Oh, I probably made it public so I could debug it. Let's go to definition. Let's see, rooms, bools, floats, blah, 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 blah. JSON serializable. Oh, no, it is public. And it's a mono behavior. I'm guessing that's because it contains a lot of data and it needs to be able to do basic things. Interesting. Well, in any case, let's go ahead and let's say I suppose we would do something like this. So settings, and we're gonna have to do a dictionary. This is gonna be interesting. We're gonna have a private dictionary, string value, and then can we do? No, I think it's just struct. So settings equals. Nope. I guess I can't use a struct. Darn it. Dang it. I thought there was a base class that all values derive from. Yeah, it's a struct, but I guess I can't use that. Well, that's disappointing. Well, I suppose we could set all of our settings to be bools. For now, that's fine. So settings equals new dictionary. All right. Let's see, game data. Let's go to definition here. I know I'm going to need to add some new fields. Game info, game data. Let's go ahead and say. See, so I do have these settings. But it looks like I didn't actually, for some reason, implement them. Or maybe I have. Nope, have not. Interesting. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and say public const. Except I can't spell const. String. Section. Settings. Equals. Settings. Alright. So, let's come down here, and we're going to say info. Let's see, so to JSON, we get our arrays. And we're not actually going to do anything with it, apparently. Super weird. All right. It was just, for some reason, not dumping information on either the game info or the JSON, or the variables. Cool, cool, cool. So let's start with our from JSON, make sure that we load everything in, and then we'll move to our to JSON, make sure it's saving out. So we load in our basic game info. Looks like that's all there. That's fine. And I don't think I need this part here. So let's go ahead and we're going to say we'll undo game data. Oops. Variables. Looks like that loads in just fine. Alright, and the last thing I suppose we'll want is JSON object game settings equals JSON dot. Well, I suppose that's probably why I didn't have a settings thing. I wasn't sure how to show it because the settings like autosave, that's for the developer. It's not for the actual player. But I suppose that's fine. I can just strip those out with a publish option. So I can say JSON object game settings equals JSON dot get object. I suppose we'll do the custom content. Custom content utility dot section game settings. All right. Do I have an autosave? No, I do not. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's why. Because the custom game. Well, yeah, we'll continue on, assuming that the custom game will keep reference to all of these data or all of these settings. So we're just gonna do this. Game info, game settings, game data, and finally variables. All right, we're gonna say for. Well, actually, this is going to be. Would it be an array? Yes, I suppose. Ugh. This is kind of. No. Hold on. How would I want to do this? Well, I guess I can't really think of any other settings that would be in there currently except for autosave. But for now, I think I'll just operate as if it wasn't an array. So it's not a thing I can loop through. It's something that I actually have to know the specific values for. So we're gonna say. How about this? Well, Let's get rid of this dictionary. Instead, I'm going to treat this as if it was a actual game setting, I suppose. So, that's the case. That might actually let me clear up my UI a bit here too. I'm going to turn this on. This is our current view. We have map, game settings, save, load, and autosave. I think I'm actually just going to take out save and load and just make it so that it's always auto-saving your changes. Yeah. Don't need this anymore. So, we're still going to have settings. So we're going to say private. Oh, not private. Sorry. Game settings. I suppose there would need to be a finite amount of settings, so there's no reason to be general about it. So I can just say private bool autosave equals false. Private bool, or not bool, int turn count equals 0, I suppose. And turn count deals with something that a lot of old text games would do, where you have a sort of like a par. You want to get to the end by X amount of inputs, and it doesn't necessarily penalize you for not finishing in time. Some games do, but other games just sort of deduct a score as time goes on. So let's just say autosave equals game settings dot get bool value custom content utility dot autosave, and then turn count equals game settings dot get int value custom content utility dot key settings turn limit. Probably should rename turn count to turn limit. Alright, so from there we're going to go to game data, which right now does nothing, so I'm not going to worry about it. And variables, so we're going to say JSON array, bool array equals variables dot get array custom content utility dot bools. All right, just copy this 3 times, and we're going to say float array, int array, and then string array. All right, and then we're going to say floats, ints, and strings. All right, so that gives us our actual array, but now I need to populate it, populate these. So we're going to say, crap, that's not correct. Well, maybe it's not incorrect either. Let's see here. Yep. Huh. Okay. Ugh, gross. So we're going to have to say for int I equals 0, I is less than bool array dot length I plus plus. We have a fun little loop here, and we're going to say bool array. No. I'm sorry. Bools dot add bool array dot get object at index I dot, oh dear, Huh. This is. Oh man, this is going to be interesting. Um. Oh, geez. Get string. No, geez. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to refactor that, and I'm gonna have to turn this into an actual data structure instead of just a generic dictionary of string bool, string ins, floats, and strings. So let's go ahead and back to Unity. Let that compile. Let me tell you, there's nothing more fun than trying to come up with 1,000 test cases where the user isn't going to break your system. So we're in our custom game view. Let's see. I'm going to need to create a data class. So we're just going to say create C# script, and we're going to call it custom game variable info. Not sure what else I would call it. Let's double click on that. And this is basically going to contain all of our actual variable information, and it's going to keep track of whether it's a bool, string, float, etc. Just make things a little bit easier on me. So, it's not going to be a mono behavior, it's going to be a serialized class, so system.serializable. Well, actually, it doesn't need to be serializable, so I'm not worried about that. And we're going to say, let's see, public string, it's key, public, do I have a variable type public? Nope. Okay, well, we're going to need that, I guess. Yay, compilation times. Okay. Let's go ahead and go over here. We're going to create another C# script. We're going to say custom game variable type. And okay. Did I spell variable wrong? Ah, dang it. I hate it when I do that. Spelled variable. I just hate changing script names. They're always annoying to do. Ah, one letter off. Go figure. Oh well. So let's double click on that. This is going to be a nice little enum. Nothing fancy. Whenever it compiles, I guess. Okay, come on. Work with me. Oh, interesting. Didn't open it. There we go. Make it a byte. Make it an A. Make it an enum. And then get rid of everything else. Oh, I probably need to make sure that I'm putting these in the text quest namespaces. Okay, good. Come over here, and we're just gonna have four types. We're gonna have a bool, which is gonna be 10, a float, which is 20, an int, oops, which is 30, and then a string, which is 40. Don't need anything else. We're gonna say equals bool, and from here, I guess we're going to say public bool value equals false. Public bool float value equals false. Public bool int value equals false. And public string value. I don't know what I was doing there. Equals nothing. Because these should be ints and floats, not bools. So float 0f and 0. Alright. So very simple. And for simplicity's sake, we're going to say iJSON, of course. We're going to say using sleepyowl.common. Derive from iJSON serial. No, it's because that's a. There we go. iJSON serializable. Override. I guess it's not that. It's just going to be public void to JSON. Actually, that's from JSON. JSON object. JSON. Public JSON object to JSON. JSON object, JSON equals new JSON object, and then return JSON. Alright, nice and simple. And I'm just going to keep my constants here, so we're going to say, actually, nope, I'm not, because I need it shared in multiple places. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to say, actually, no, it'll only be contained here. So yes, I can put it here. Haha. So private const string. We're going to say key equals this. Okay, we're just going to copy and paste this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Type bool float int and string. Alrighty then. And we're going to say public custom game info, variable info, JSON object, JSON equals null, and we're going to say if JSON does not equal null from JSON. Alright. And let's see here. So let's do our toJSON first. We're going to say switch type JSON.add ID is going to be key_key, and we're going to add our key to that. JSON.add key_type. It's going to be our type.toString. And then this switch here will actually determine the value that we pull in. So we're going to say, you know what, actually, I can actually reduce this to 3 key value. Because you're never going to have, you know, a bool, float, string, int, and or string value. You're only ever going to have one of them. So, let's go ahead and make these real quick. So key, type, value. All right. And then we're going to say case type.bool break. Copy this 3 times. So float int string JSON.add key, not variable, key value, and then let's see, that's going to be our bool. So we're going to say bool value dot toString. Okay, so let's copy this. Oops. Come on. There we go. String value, value, and float value. All right, so that's the toJSON taken care of. Now we can go into from JSON, and we're going to say key is equal to JSON.getStringValue key key underscore key. All right. Type is going to be equal to JSON.getStringValue key underscore type, and then dot toenum, and it's going to be custom game variable type. All right. And finally, once we have that, we're actually going to have another switch. Going to do the same thing, basically, just in reverse. So we're going to say get bool value, and we're going to say bool value is equal to that. Copy and paste because I'm lazy. Alright, so float value, int value. I know it's going to freak out for a little bit. String value. Okay. String value. Alright, we're going to say get string value, get int value, and then get float value. Alright. And that should be everything. Uh-oh, why are you mad? That's because I have an extra parenthesis there. There we go. Alright, so now that I've added an entirely new data class, let's go back to what we were doing. So, custom game, here we are. So now, let's see. How do I want to store this? I could store it as I'm currently doing with a list of private a bunch of private dictionaries, each dictionary containing bools, ints, floats, and strings. I don't know if I want to do that necessarily. Probably wouldn't hurt, but then I would have just made a data class purely for converting to and from JSON. So, it's probably not the worst thing ever. I don't know. I feel like I could just make a list. But then whenever I would need to retrieve someone, I'd have to constantly iterate through that list to get something, or to get a custom game variable info that has a key of X. So I feel like it'd be better just to freaking down. It's probably not. Well, yeah. So I basically made an intermediary thing that just made it way easier for me to do anything. I suppose that's fine. I need to, because the problem is I need this information to be saved out. So I need to know the key, the type, and the value. That way when I parse it back in, I can actually put it in its appropriate list, or its appropriate dictionary. Because otherwise I would just have a single list with all of these things in it, and whenever I needed to retrieve it, I would have to determine, what value it was supposed to be and all that stuff. So, I don't know, that could get complicated. Well, actually, I mean, it would drastically simplify the storage of things, but it would just make retrieving it way more annoying than it would need to be. Um, so I'm going to try coding it this way. So for all of my bool array, I'm going to say uh, custom game variable info equals new bool array dot get object at index I. Okay. What's really funny is that when we're actually done doing all of this, I don't think our save file is going to really look that different. It's still going to be very, very empty. It's just going to be very, very empty, but properly saved. All right, so we're going to get our data to populate here. See, and here, see, yeah, okay. Because I could have, I suppose, made 4 small classes. Excuse me. That don't need to be generic, but let me think. When you're saving a large array of these objects, you're going to have 3 values that need to be saved every time. So I would have one array with all of these variables in it that have 3 values, or I would have 4 arrays that have 2 values in each one of its objects. Technically, the latter would be smaller overall, I think. It would be quite frustrating, but smaller overall. I suppose that makes sense. Well, saving everything out. No, that's why I do that. So I know what to parse. Do. Well, yeah. I suppose that I could just make it so that this only parses its keys and values, but then I wouldn't know what to do with it. It would have to be able to determine. All right. Let me think about this. So 4 data classes. I wouldn't call it custom game variable info. I would call it custom game bool info, custom game. It wouldn't even be info. It would just custom game bool, custom game string, custom game float, custom game int. I don't like making 4 classes for something that doesn't really need it. No, you know what? This will be even easier. Custom content. Where are my variables? Let's see. Variables. Settings. Hello, Arshig. Welcome to Saturday's fun Devstream. And by fun, I mean me constantly getting frustrated because of custom content creation. You probably don't remember me. I'm not gonna lie, I do not. Though I would say don't feel bad because I have a terrible memory. When was the last time you watched, I guess? I mean, I've been away for 3 weeks, and from your text, I'm guessing that it's been quite a bit longer than that. But it's always good to ask where people last saw the dev stream. Let's see. So we have variables here. Let's go to here we are. Bools, integers, floats and strings. Let's go ahead and say variables. So it gives us our individual things. I'm going to say public const string key. I guess key. I'm going to call it variable key. I used to watch about 2 months ago, maybe 3. Well, to be fair, actually my streaming content over the past 2 months has been a little bit dodgy, largely due to conventions and work crunch combined with holidays. So the last 2 months of any given year for me are always just crazy, and it ends up tearing into my Devstream time. So I probably haven't streamed actually a whole lot since the last time you watched. Maybe probably only about a dozen times. Well, not even. Well, probably about a dozen times. So let's go ahead and call this not key. Public const string. Do you remember the last thing you watched? Key variable value. Either way, this should be new. If you only watched about 3 months ago, this whole content creation thing started about a year ago, and I didn't get too far on it. But I'm going back into it. I figured it would be a fun thing to do on Saturday. So we're going to call this value. Alright, let's come back here. So instead of doing this whole custom data class, which is fun, because I just spent the time actually creating the class, but, you know, hey, whatever. We're just going to say JSON object bool JSON equals bool array dot get object at index I. Last thing I remember was a locked room and a wizard that disappears after lightning strike. Okay, I actually changed that. Well, yeah, I changed it. He no longer disappears by lightning. He disappears by a giant magic explosion, because that just makes more sense, obviously. Yeah, that actually ended up getting a lot of work done on it. So now it's a little bit more intuitive for new players, because a lot of people were getting stuck there. So we're going to say bool JSON. Okay, that gives us our actual JSON there. And then we're going to say bools.add bool JSON. Oh, come on. Bool JSON dot get string value. Some content utility dot key variable key. Oh man, this is gonna be nuts. And then bool JSON dot get bool value custom content utility dot no key variable value. All right. Yeah, so there's trying to think of what's been done since then. Nothing crazy has changed, really. It's mostly been minor improvements for conventions. No, I don't need that 3 times. I don't know why I did that. I do need to copy this whole for loop. And it's largely been me sort of experimenting with new things and getting work done on the woods level. Because I decided to completely redo the woods level so that instead of having, tightly enclosed walls, it's going to have endlessly, seamlessly wrapping forest that just makes you feel like you're getting lost. But not actually getting lost, because then that would make the game impossible. So, fun juggling act. Do I prefer working solo? So it's got its advantages and its disadvantages. Immediate disadvantages that are very, very obvious are whenever you have to go anywhere to like conventions and stuff, you're going out there by yourself, which means that you have to be at the booth for the entire convention. You need to do all of the business stuff. You need to manage everything, which I don't like doing. But it's stuff that's obviously important. I'm just going to call these var JSONs. It's way easier. But yeah, as far as convention stuff goes, it's definitely worse, and it's way more annoying. In terms of actual development, it, I again, it has its ups and downs. I have no one to blame but myself for anything, which I personally enjoy because it lets me say stuff like I hate my artist and I hate my programmer. They're slow and terrible, and it doesn't hurt anyone's feelings because it's just me. Um, int array, string array, and it also lets me bounce back and forth across a bunch of different things like audio, uh, art, programming. Whenever I get stuck in one area, I can just jump to one or to another one, and then it lets me bring everything together in a much more cohesive way than if I had separate people working on it, and then I had to sort of like mesh them together a little bit. So it's got its ups and downs, but on the whole, for what I'm doing now, I don't mind working solo. In the future, I will eventually have to bring in some other people. Mostly, I'm going to have to bring in a composer because I can't compose to save my life. So let's go to floats. Long-winded answer is ambivalent to that. Ints and strings. Okay, so we're going to say get string value, get int value, get float value. Okay, come on, work with me here. There we go. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge working by yourself. Everything takes way longer, especially since this isn't like I can't do this full time. So it becomes kind of frustrating to see how slow things progress. MVP, technically, I'm done with the MVP. I mean, I have an actual demo. Um, I have as far as I know, perfectly stable demo that contains everything in there. It has combat, it has exploration, it has 2 levels, it has the basis of the story in there. So the MVP is done. That's all in there. Now it's going to still require a little bit of polish because I need to get better music in there and stuff like that. But technically everything's in there. So MVP is done, 100%. But everything I'm doing now is, I'm creating the rest of the content that's necessary for the full game, the stuff that's enjoyable. Well, not enjoyable. It's not like a demo isn't enjoyable. But I mean, I'm adding more stuff, adding more content. Getting Sierra mode a little bit more interesting, and then obviously what we're doing today is setting up the custom content creation, which I think is kind of a necessary part of what's going to make Text Quest interesting for people. Is that they'll be able to make their own text-based adventures inside of a text-based game that is, it's got a good parser, in my opinion, obviously. That has decent mechanics in terms of how you can interact with things, the verbs you can do, all that sort of stuff. So I would just like to be able to do that. Okay, so that's loading all of our variables done. And I think that's all I needed to do for the from JSON. So now we need to finish the to JSON stuff. Oh boy. Okay. So we're going to say add a couple of things. We're going to add some content utility dot variable value. Oops. Variable key. This is going to be S here. There we go. Bool array dot add bool element. Okay, so I can copy this stuff. Paste this stuff in. Paste this stuff in, and paste this stuff in. This. Oops. Copy this. All right. See you when you get back. And change this to floats. Ah, dang it. Floats. Change this to ints. Change this to strings. Oh my god. I think we're almost done with this. And then, of course, I have to delete this because this is now a useless class. All that work. To be fair, it's not like it was actually doing anything yet. So, then I need to get this stuff set up. So we're going to have JSON object, game JSON. I guess we'll call it info JSON equals new JSON object settings JSON equals new JSON object variables JSON equals new JSON object. Okay. I'm gonna do this variables JSON. Man. JSON.add custom content utility dot key variables. I guess it's section variables. Variable just JSON. It's gonna be last. JSON.add custom content utility dot section settings JSON. Let's do JSON.add custom content utility dot section game data. I guess I don't have a data JSON, but I'll pretend that I do for now. Comment it out. JSON.add custom content utility dot section game info JSON. Oh man. So close. Go ahead and say JSON object data JSON equals new JSON object. It's nothing. And okay, got all of our arrays and JSON objects done. Now we can actually go through, and we're going to say well, I guess we're just going to do the reverse of this. This. Okay, so we're going to say info JSON.add copy this game name. Okay, cut and paste this. Do 3 times. Game creator, game description, game type dot toString. Alright. Creator, game description, and game type. Alright, so that's our info JSON taken care of. That's our now we need to do our settings. To do data. And then we're going to do, which I guess data, honestly, is going to be our variables. I don't know what else I'm going to have in data. I'll probably end up removing that. But for now, it's fine. I'll actually comment that out because it's not doing anything for now. And we're going to say settings JSON.add custom content utility dot settings autosave a bool. Yes. Settings JSON dot add custom content utility dot settings turn limit. All right. I think that's pretty much everything. Finally, jeez. Let's let that compile, see if we have any errors that crop up. I would hope not. I don't think I've done anything wrong yet. Side note, I think I need to add more features to my little avatar there at the bottom right. I mean, I like him, but he's a little drab. A lot of black and whites and grays. Probably should have a more colorful background. Probably should also give him more than 2 animations. Let's see. At least he doesn't have to do any real lip syncing since it's only pixel art. I also need to get rid of a crap ton of warnings. All right. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to do another quick run through to see what see how things look like, and see what our new save output will be. Okay, yeah, that little hiccup is kind of annoying. Start. So I need to do something about that. Not sure what I could do. Let's see. Extras, classic mode. We're going to create one, a new one. Custom game is going to be called Test 2. Creator will be me. Game type is going to be classics. Save path is going to be test game. Can I hit save? Yes. Okay, look. Oh, that's interesting. So the save path, you're seeing that it says only testgame.ctba. That means that it's going to be saved to the root of our custom game paths, which is what happened before. We noticed that. For some reason, I guess it's not drilling down. That's interesting. Let's hit create. Fuck. Really? You're gonna do that? What are you getting mad at? Oh. Oh. Right. I have to initialize it with values that are actually, there, I suppose. False. 0. That was interesting. Let's see if it even made it. Nope. Didn't. Boo. I'm going to get rid of some of these folders. Don't think I need them. They're empty anyway. Test game. Classic games. Yeah, nothing there. Let's try that again real quick. One of these days, we will have an actual save file that is worthwhile. Start. Let's do extras, classic mode, create. Probably need to make sure that this gets populated too. New, custom game. It's going to be test 3. It's going to be me. Game types, classic. That's fine. Test game. Save. Yep. Nope. Still nothing. Ugh. Still got a null reference. Where are you coming from now? Really? Huh. Alright, fine. Let's stop this. Where's from JSON getting called? Find all references. Ah, crap. This is a... Ah, dang it. I shouldn't even do that. I mean, whatever. Is anything doing it in this actual file? No, of course not. Alright, let's see. Combinable switch. Weapon, combinable switch, lever switch, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure it is this. Yep, right there. So, fine. Fine. It's getting moody because I'm trying to get a value that doesn't exist, and even though I'm passing it a default value, it's not quite behaving appropriately. I'm going to go here, go to definition. Oh, interesting. Right. Go to definition. Why must you be the bane of my existence sometimes? Just real quick. Get bool. Go to definition. It's just being mean about it. Fine. Let's come back here. I suppose it's probably because my entire JSON system needs a little bit of an overhaul. Mostly one that's... Actually, you know what? I bet I could clean that up real quick. That would save me a lot of trouble. Let's go here. Yep. How nice. Okay. Let's go all the way up here. We're gonna make these strings because they're no. You know what? Nope. I'm gonna compromise. This is not something that's interesting for the stream, so I'm gonna hold off on that. I will put a giant to do up at the very top. To do. Change name value pairs to use string keys instead of JSON string keys. Because that'll save me a lot of trouble in the future. Look at that, I can give her a collections. Alright, so let's just come back here, and for now, we'll just say this. I hate this so much. I hate doing this. Don't equal null question mark dot int. Sorry, dot. Boy, it's get number, isn't it? Get number. Get number. Dot int value. 0. Okay. Let's try this again. Let that compile. I love digging through large amounts of data. It's just so much fun. Might not have gotten enough water before the stream. Running a little low. Constantly talking is not something I usually do, so haven't quite mastered not having your mouth dry out. Start extras classic mode. Create new test 4. Chris. Screw it. We'll just save. Oh, really? Oh. Oh, that's interesting. It's. Oh, okay. That's why. So if I go to test game and then I hit save, you'll see that our save path is test game. If I go to test game and enter an actual file name, let's call it test. You'll see that our save game is going to be test game test.ctba. Yep. That's why the pathing isn't working right now. Very simple fix. It's because it's not applying a slash at the end there. That's fine for now. So let's just say test game test. That's fine. Create, and of course we got another null reference. Oh, interesting. It looks like it created it 4 times. Oh, unless I was just debugging that constantly. Did you seriously give me another freaking null reference there? Huh. Weird. Wonderful. So I have to dig into my JSON stuff because we can't get past this otherwise. Unless I just, comment it out. So, So, welcome back, by the way. I talk too much, so I'm used to it. I usually don't talk very much. I like to just listen to everything. Very much like a Silent Bob-like figure there. But, obviously I need to talk a lot when I'm on these streams, which is actually part of why I made that avatar there at the bottom right, because just hearing my voice I feel kind of boring for people, so I decided to make something that was a little bit more visually interesting. And I know that a lot of developers will have a camera that they stream from, but the lighting in my work office is pretty abysmal. There would be no way to get an actual good lighting look at my face. So I chose to just make a more interesting 2D representation. Let's go to Start, Extras, Classic Mode, Create, New, blah, blah. I'm just going to do test here. Create. Hooray! Success! Interesting. My cursor has been hidden away. Sit back. Create. Okay. So I'm going to stop playing. We didn't have any error logs there, so that's good. Now if we come back here, hooray, we do actually have a test. Let's see what it looks like. Uh-oh, game type is 0. That is clearly a mistake. So my question to you is, why are you 0? Let's see here. Game type. Interesting. The text here is 0. Okay, well, out of curiosity. Game type. Let's go to definition here. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to change these values. I don't want to say 3D because I can't. I can't have a... Darn it! What's another thing I can say for 3D? New? No. Crap. Fine, I'll keep it for just these two for now. Let's get rid of you. That's interesting. I actually should be able to play... Oh, and before I forget. Where is it? Custom new game dialog view. Jeez, this is ridiculous. These names are getting stupidly long. Custom new game dialog view. Oh, that's what this is. Oh, right. I'm going to move these close functions to above the open functions. That should actually cause my cursor to show up as needed. All right. Do I need to save its path? That seems kind of unnecessary, I would think. I'm not worried about that for now. I think the goal for now is to get all of those things saving properly and getting them to pop up in that initial list. So I probably need to go to... Do I need create or create select view? Well, let's play to it and we'll see. Dang it. Yeah, that hiccup seems worse than I remember. Oh, and I guess I gotta update my copyright. It only says 2016. Start. Let's go to extras. Classic mode, create right here. So what is this? View container. Classic create select. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't actually populate that list, I don't think. Or maybe I do. Let's go to refresh list. Stop playing because I kind of need this to function. Let's see. Classic game files. Ah, here we are. So we're going to check if our custom directory exists. Oh, actually, you know what? I bet part of this problem is these files. I'm just going to do a quick for loop here and debug these files. For int I equals 0, I is less than files.count, I plus plus. I'm going to say debug.log files I. And what I'm doing right here is I'm checking the names of all of the files that are getting returned here. Because I don't think, yep, CTBA, I don't think that it's actually, oh, that's why. Because they're not in the save directory path. I guess I don't want that. I guess I actually want custom directory path. That could be why. So if we play this again, that actually might fix everything. I think the idea was that I was trying to shove them all into the classic games folder, which you can see is here, classic games. But it probably should honestly be anything inside of the custom games folder. All right. And Shazam, it's going to work this time. I can feel it. Extras, classic mode, create. Haha! Called it. And let's see, let's go ahead and do test. Well, I was close. It at least populated, which is good. Even if it threw an error. So let's see, we're looking at, it's a list error, or it's an index error, which means that it's not going to actually let me jump to wherever it went. Looks like classic games list, line 41. Let's see, classic game. Oh, yeah, and I was right, by the way. Okay, so I can get rid of that debug. Shoop. Let's see. Classic create view. Here we are. Refresh list. Go to definition 41. On button clicked. Games I. Interesting. Go to definition. Fine. We're going to do this. Int index equals I. Index. This is an old trick that I learned while iterating through. Sometimes when you're assigning delegates, if you try to use the actual index variable, so in this case I, it will actually not set that value until the end of the for loop. So you would constantly be trying to access the wrong one. Although in that case, it would actually be accessing the wrong one, not an index out of range. Well, let's just see what happens. I'm going to put in a debug here too. Debug.log. Test. And that's just to see if that crops up before or after the error, or if it crops up at all. If it doesn't crop up, or if it doesn't show up, that means that it was after the error. If it does show up, then that means it was before the error. So. Going on an hour and a half. I'd like to finish up. I'd like to finish up before 5 is my goal. Start. Let's go to extras, classic mode. We're going to create. That's interesting. It just worked that time. I didn't change anything. Why did it work that time? It must have been that index stuff, I guess. Well, actually, I did change that, so yeah. Must have been that index. Weird. It did not populate the game name correctly, which is interesting. I'm going to stop playing. I'm going to check my test file. Yeah, I want to reload it. Test. Yeah, it's still correct there. Interesting. Also, that might I might have fixed the error by making the game type int values 0 and 1 instead of 10 and 20, because it'll try to cast this int to an actual enum now, and that might have fixed it. Except that makes no sense actually because that was an index error pointing to the list. Hello, Garrett. It feels good to be back streaming. A lot of experimental stuff over the break, but still working on everything. So I figured a Saturday Devstream would be something I would like to continue trying to do again. Mostly because I enjoy Saturdays, and Saturdays are a fun day to experiment with weird stuff. Okay, so let's fix that. Get rid of you. How was your holiday season? And Shazam is going to compile. Ha, there we go. I guess I should ask, was your holiday season productive? Start. Extras, classic mode, create, and test. Okay. So it opens the menu, but for some reason it doesn't seem like it sets these values up. Which is fine, I think. Well, I mean, it's not fine. It's actually a terrible, terrible thing. But it's interesting that it's not throwing an error. It doesn't throw anything. Well, let's see. What one is this? Classic create select. It's classic create. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's classic create. Good. So let's take a look at the script. Let's close you. We don't quite need you yet. We're going to say open game info. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't a serialized class. It's weird that it's a mono behavior. I think it's because I was eventually going to have custom game be a mono behavior so that it could run coroutines. That's probably why. That's true, you did. I did see that. So yes, your holiday season was way more creative than mine, or not creative, way more productive than mine. Um, okay, so I'm going to. Yeah, weird. Why did I comment this out? I guess. Current custom game info. Oh, I bet that's why. It's probably because I changed how that was functioning. Well, fine. We'll just come down here. Interesting. Title label should have been populating, but it wasn't. Okay. Curious. GameInfo.game name. Huh. Weird. Is it not loading properly? That could be why. Or more likely, let's go to definition here. Yeah, I'm also loading it twice. It's not necessary, which is weird. Okay. Huh. Don't need you. Oh man, it's just a reunion. uh, Welcome back, Quantum Thinker. It's been coming along slowly. Oh, and to answer your question, Garrett, how I did it, he's just a little guy I threw together in Flash. Took like 2 hours, I think, to figure out how to properly set up voice recognition. Although technically it just responds to any noise, but it's got a small threshold that it shouldn't detect anything really outside of my voice. But yeah, it just sort of toggles between idling and then two random animations, either talking with my arms at my side or me pointing and talking. So I probably will add more to it as I go along. just to make it more visually interesting. Like, might have them flip sides, might have them do background stuff. Anyway, freaking name label problem. Let's see. Don't need to worry about this. Classic create view, game info. See, I don't think I need to do any of this anymore because the game creator stuff gets parsed out here. Yep. Okay, don't need to do that. Interesting. I don't know if I want to have it right away, but it probably will anyway. So let's just go ahead and set up our name stuff. So we're going to say title label dot text equals that. Title label dot not title label. Name label dot text equals game info dot game name. Do I have a creator label? That's fine for now. Let's just see if anything changes now that I have that actually being set up there. Hello, Narcos. Good to see you again. Oh my god, I'm tearing up. There's so many people. I haven't talked to you guys in so long. Hopefully my voice doesn't start to go now after an hour and a half of streaming and I'm like 90% recovered from sickness. Alright, let's see what ends up happening. Come on. Still got that hiccup. Ugh. Start. I guess it's not going to go away since I haven't done anything. But create. Let's load this. No, it's just calling custom name and game name. Let's see here. View container, classic create. Just out of curiosity, game name label. Yeah, it should be up there. Let's look at our file. With Notepad. See, it should be doing that, but the fact that it's not is super weird for me. It has been a while, Narcos. Everything's going slowly. The last month or so was largely unproductive due to holidays, conventions, work crunches, and me just doing experimental stuff with TextQuest, not really anything central to the game necessarily. So weird. Why is it saying custom name instead of what it should say, which would be what? Tiad. Okay, I'm gonna debug this. Go back here. I want to make sure that's actually getting here for one. So let's see, debug.log. We're just gonna say game info dot game name. Okay, so this should at least see us or let us know if it's parsing it correctly. It might just not parse it for some reason. Well, go to definition here. So it's looking for section game info. Did we actually see that? Yeah, no, it's right there. Weird. Okay. Yeah, and 'tis the season. It was great. I made it through, Christmas no problem, and then as soon as like the night before New Year's Eve, I started feeling like don't feel super great, and then sick all of New Year's, and basically recovering this week. Start. But how have you all been? You know that Garrett's had a very, very productive holiday season. But how about you guys, Quantum Thinker and Narcos? Let's go to extras, classic mode, create, test. Oh, hello. It didn't debug. Now that's interesting. That means that it's opening some other way. It's probably opening with the base open, which would explain everything. Let's go to games list. Here we are. Find all references, path, on game selected, Oh. Oh. That's why. Interesting. Um, Cred. Hmm. Played games through all of it. I did a lot of games catching up. Uh, ah. Did you wreck it? That's a hard thing to. I would assume it's very expensive. Motorcycles are all. Well, I guess not all motorcycles are, but motorcycles are presumably a very expensive thing to upkeep. Lower part of the motor crack. Oh man. Okay, so it's opening. It's using this open, which means that I actually need to parse the data coming in. Um, and I guess I don't want to do this. So instead, I want to do this. Da, 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 da. I don't need to do this. Oh, that's why. This was all doing. So custom game was a serialized object at some point, but then I made it a mono behavior so it would actually form the logic of the game. That's right. Fun, fun, fun. My cat apparently wants attention. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say if the path is null or empty, we're going to say, we're not going to do this. We're actually going to get rid of that base.open. We're going to say JSON object, JSON equals new, JSON object, or rather, we're actually going to do this. Okay, and then we're going to say if the path is not null or empty, it's actually going to be this. Oh, come on. Get rid of that. Get rid of this else. Don't need it. JSON equals you. And then we're going to say open and then pass it JSON and close others. Simple as that. Boom. Nice. Nice motorcycle. Although to be fair, I'm probably not the best judge of motorcycles. I have a notable lack of knowledge, but it looks nice. All right, let's see if this works. Ah, that's brutal. Yeah. Any sort of repair on a vehicle just it always sucks. Start extras and classic mode. Right, create test. Darn it! Oh, path is empty. How is the path empty? Interesting. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's trace this back. File manager, write file. File manager. Is it because I'm guessing uh yep, right there. So I do need to pass a game path to actually be able to load it. I guess that makes sense. Right. No, that makes sense. That totally makes sense because it would need to. Well, no, no, that wouldn't make sense. Why would I have the file know its own path? Because then, if you ever moved the file, it would break. Yeah, no, I can't do that. That's not how that works. Um, Did I update to Unity 5.5? Just updated. I had to do lots of mini fixes because I depreciate a lot of stuff in new places. Yeah, I am in 5.5. 5.5. I've updated to 5.6, not for Text Quest, but on some other stuff. And 5.6 has some cool stuff, but it is kind of buggy. It is the beta after all. So yeah, you hate warnings. I have I think 83 warnings, but it's all from code that's not mine. It's the asset store stuff that I have in here, and they haven't updated yet. So it's just like to sit there and look at it forever. Um, let's see here. So yeah, no, I don't like that. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to pass a path to this. So we're going to do string path. Pass this path. And then we don't need to worry about this. We can just make this path. Ta-da! Way easier. And makes way more sense. Oh, come on. Really? Da, 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 da. I guess... I guess we'll do this. Copy this. String path is equal to this. JSON path. All right. Yeah, so you can see that my debug or my console has a lot of warnings in it, but it's all well. There are a couple of things that are mine. Um, Most of it is from things that are not quite finished yet. So, although that one actually looks like it was an obsolete thing that I was doing. Actually, that was probably a workaround that I need to get rid of because I finally fixed that stupid asynchronous loading level issue. Um, right. For now, though, I just kind of have to soldier on through those warnings. Let's see. Let's try playing again. Let's see if all that pathing actually works. So start, extras, classic mode, create. Well, it went, but it's still not interesting. So it just says custom game. It must be passing. So is my path empty here? Debug.log path. That's the only reason I can think of that it would be, giving us those default values. It's really weird. I mean, wait, really? Is DirectX not fully in yet? Is it experimental? I thought I remember seeing it. Project settings, graphics. That was completely wrong. I want to go to the player, don't I? Player. Let's see. Presentation. Huh. So hold on. I'm being stupid here. Why can't I remember where? There it is. Auto graphics for Windows. Yeah, they have DirectX 3D or Direct 3D 12 there. Weird. I remember unchecking that. Huh. Oh, really? Even in 5.5? Usually it says experimental if it's still experimental. I'm also really curious. It doesn't look like they have Vulkan as an experimental thing anymore. Maybe they only have Vulkan for Mac. That'd be weird. Because I'd like to target Vulkan, honestly. Well, anyway. Where was I? Right, I was testing if that path was empty. They still, I mean, they have a lot of experimental stuff though, because they usually end up adding a lot of features well before they're actually done with them, and they just sort of leave them in that experimental limbo forever. I bet it's empty. No, it's not. Well, then what the hell? So, game development, Unity, text quest, build, text quest, assets, then backup one, custom, test. Yeah, that's right. So why is it empty? Go here. Oh, why am I why is it doing that? That's incredibly dumb. Base info. There, jeez. Is text quest going to push the GPU tessellation? Probably not. Then again, I do always like to say it's the most graphically intense text-based adventure ever. So I don't know if that's a. I don't think that's a lie. I think I could. I think I could say that. Um, yeah, instead of Unity Personal, that was a very very nice addition. Um, yeah, yeah. The dark theme is nice. I do like it, but yeah, no, there's. It's not worth a bunch of money. Extras, classic mode, create, test, and oh, so close. Dang it. Work with me here. See, yeah, I knew it. It's because it's. Just gonna make this open with. Come on, Windows. I know you can do it. Okay. This is interesting. Why does it not find it? That's very curious. I'm gonna put a little debug in here. Debug.log json.to formatted string. Okay. Even though I'll go with plus later, I won't remove the Unity logo. Yeah, no, I'll probably upgrade to plus before I finish and actually release it. But I don't know if I am going to remove the logo screen or not. It's something I've thought about, but I never actually decided. Start. Because it's not like I'm personally ashamed of making something in Unity, but there is a little bit of a stigma that still sort of hangs around Unity. Not with other developers, but with the general populace, because what, like 2 years ago, there was this huge deluge of terrible games being made with Unity. Um, yeah, but still freaking out. It still got everything. Object reference. What do you? Oh, why would I make that game data? That should be. There we go. Am I forgetting something? Info JSON settings and variables. That was why. Okay. Da, 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 da. Can I use it? Customizable economy. Of course, I had to use the personal word on it. Sound cheap. I hated that it ran development builds, slow down testing. Really, I didn't know that it did that. Huh. Unity solution. Yeah. Yeah. Unity. I think now Unity is actually. They did have to work a lot to get out of that sort of dark hole that had been associated with them. And now, I mean, it's a lot better. And developers already know that it's not a terrible engine anymore, or at least nowhere near what it was way back in the day. But you know, players are way, way less forgiving because they don't have to deal with it. And I'm guessing that this is all just going to be like this. I'm going to have to make a new game, I think. So I'm going to say create new, game, call it test 4. Creator will be me. Game type classic. We're going to do, no, we'll call it just like test 4 for now. Save, create. Oh no! What terrible null references happened? Apparently a lot. Go figure. I guess I should do this. New JSON object so that it'll actually create new JSON objects. New JSON objects. Da-da-da. Splash there doesn't matter. It affects the game is free. New JSON object. Well, you'd be surprised. See, I think the fact that so many free games had the splash screen is why there was a huge problem with Unity on the front of games. People were seeing that on a lot of bad games and assuming that bad games were made with Unity. In fact, statistics say that users hate logos at the beginning of their games because they want to jump to planes. No, that's definitely true. Which is exactly why I've made it so that when you actually boot up the game and start playing, you can just click through all of the logos. So you can actually skip all of the logos. Actually, I've recently been playing Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, and the most frustrating thing for me is whenever I boot that game up, it's like a minute of logos that you can't skip. I'm just like, come on, I want to play the game. Stop it. Let me at least skip. So classic mode play test. Yeah, I know you're gonna break. Wait, it didn't break. Clicking isn't registering? Is nothing happening? No errors. This is interesting. Let's go back. Oh, I must have hit play or something. Let's go to create. New test 5. Chris. We'll do test 5. Save. Create. Damn it! Again? Yarg. Oh, it's probably because I need to initialize this. Right. Waiting for the Unity logo was longer than load time for my whole game. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Unity logo loading is a what? A good 5 seconds, I want to say. New JSON array. Copy this because I need to have these values in here in case they're not actually initialized yet. That should solve my problems that I'm having here. Alright. And just for fun, I am going to go over here, go to definition. Because this is probably actually going to cause a few problems. Section variables. Okay. Yeah, that was. I've always hated waiting for logos, so I understand the reason for having them there. Obviously, you want people to know who you are. That's why I put them in there. But I want people to be able to click through them, especially if they've already seen them once. That's the thing. Once they've seen them once, you don't need to keep forcing them to see it. Just when Unity prepares everything, I have to spend 5 seconds on a logo each time I start the software. I start looking for a replacement. Right? Yeah, no, it's. Eh. Again, I understand the reason logos like that exist. It's just kind of frustrating to do that all the time. Actually create. Hooray! It initialized with nothing for some reason, but it's a start! interesting. And all the stuff is in there. Weird. Out of curiosity, let's see if it's in there. Yep, it's just empty. Super weird. Okay. Wrong thing. Here we are. Load times on Android are terrible. Yeah, yeah. Mostly that's because you have to hyper compress everything when you export to Android, and then it has to decompress that when you start. Um, Same thing with trailers. People like putting logos at the beginning. That shouldn't be doing that on trailers. I'm trying to think. I feel like putting logos at the start of trailers kind of ruins it. Clear this. So it looks like it's not grabbing the correct stuff. Game create view. So I guess that's going on here. JSON path. Oh, that's why. It's because it's not putting it in the right spot. So I actually want to say JSON object game JSON equals new JSON object. Make this game JSON. And then we're going to say JSON.add custom content utility dot game info. Okay, section game info game JSON. There we go. I think that'll fix our problem. Put that logos at the end because you might lose a potential client. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I actually need to make a brand new TextQuest demo or TextQuest trailer because the first one was terrible, and it starts with logos. I only buy Unreal Engine games made with rat tools and speed trees. Trademark. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. There have been some games that I've had to sit through like a good half a minute, I think, of trailers or of fancy animations for all of the logos. I mean, Deus Ex is a good example of that actually, because it's got like the Dawn engine, the Deus Ex universe, the fancy scale forms. It's just everything. Freaking drives me nuts. I'm already playing your game. I don't need to know what you did. Let's see, extras, classic mode, create. Okay, we're gonna make a new one. It's gonna be test 5. Creator is gonna be me. Save path is gonna be under test 5. Save, create. Yes! Finally! Okay. So it looks like everything's actually saving. Okay. I didn't even know you could do that. Wait, really? Logos are controlled by the .ini file? I didn't know that. Yeah, no, that is one of the reasons why those things show up. Um, Logo clicker. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else I really want to do on today's stream, because we do have what our goal was, which was getting all of the menus set up so that you can actually click through and load the ones that you want. So, yep, looks like it actually will do it. Let's hit create. Let's load tests. Good. Those names show up correctly. Okay. Yeah, I think we're at a good spot. My cat wants a lot of attention, apparently. I'll be lurking. Wait, what? Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that my voice is exactly what most people want to hear when they're in the bath. UI, the game. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. There's something small I can do for now. Oh, well, look at that. It also automatically sorts based on their time. I remember setting that up, but it's good. That means that they, every time you start editing, it's going to resave it, and then that updates its write time. Hooray! So it'll automatically load from top to bottom, newest to oldest. Hmm. Yeah, I've actually thought about adding my cat to my Flash character so that whenever she hops up on my chair, it would show up. But I also don't know how to differentiate her from me. So if she, unless she just meows and I record it and try to match that via Flash, I probably wouldn't be able to get a good result. Um, uh, let's see. I guess I could, yeah, because these buttons don't do anything yet. That's a pretty major issue, the getting the map stuff set up. Because the rest of this menu, if we take a look at it real quick, and it's been a long time since I've shown this to anyone. Um, we have a map which shows, as you can see at the very bottom, it shows you basically sort of a map uh, of your game that you're creating. So it'll show you, like this is uh, the den, and with an arrow jutting off of that, it'll say, if you go to the south, you'll get to the fireplace entrance. If you go to the north, you'll go outside, and then there will be an arrow going to another room, which is the plains level or whatever. And obviously that's not in there yet. I still have a lot to do to make that a nice interface. Game settings will do stuff like autosave, let you make variables, blah 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 blah. And then stats are over here on the right. And obviously they're not actually doing anything right now, but it'll keep track of how many rooms you have, how many objects you have, how many items you have, blah 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 blah. And then of course let you test your game. But I think for now, mostly because anything I start is going to take an eternity. I think this is a good place to stop for Saturday's dev stream. Um, I know you just got in the bath, Narcos. I'm sorry to cut out, but I have to go because I'm getting kind of hungry. I haven't eaten in a while, so we're gonna end off here for the day. We got everything we wanted done. You can create an actual file that is actually saved. It has all of its values accurately stored. So if we look at it, we can see that we have our game info. Um, we don't have a game description. That's because we don't have a field for that yet. But we actually save our game type. We save the creator. We save the name. We save whether it's got autosave or not. And we save all of our variables in a correct spot. So it's no longer just a really, really simple, you know, bools, floats, integers, and strings. It's now actually got quite a bit of drilling into it. So it's a little bit more organized. So yeah, I think that's a good place to leave off. So it was really good talking to y'all again. I'm glad you all stopped by for Saturday's dev stream. Definitely gonna make this a regular thing. I'm gonna try to do a lot more Saturday dev streams because it seems like everyone has a little bit more free time on the weekends. I have no idea why. That makes no sense. Um, and yeah, I'd just like to do this every Saturday. It'd be a nice thing to do. So good talking to you. Good talking to you all again. Glad to be back. Great first stream for the year. So after being delayed for 2 days, well, 4 days technically, but so once again, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.